Thank you. We'll let Miss Anna take care of the...
So tonight we have with us Mr. R.J. Toot. He is the son of Eric and Kimberly Toot. He graduated from SMHS last week. He won first place in criminal justice at the State Skills USA competition in April. R.J. will be the only criminal justice competitor representing Tennessee in the National Skills USA competition in Atlanta in June. And he's going to lead us with the pledge. R.J., take it away.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You can talk to me anytime. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. We'll hold up a minute so we can get some photos. Okay, next item on the agenda is welcome to visitors. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And I don't see any of our student representatives. I guess they graduated. And school's out, yeah. Okay, but anyway, thank you for everybody for being here. And the next item is the special recognition, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Maxwell.
Okay, so tonight we have several students that we want to recognize, and Ms. Paulson is here to help me with this. And so when I call your name, if you will come and get your certificate, and then Ms. Paulson will explain why these children are here tonight with us. So we have Keith Stoltz. Rosie Patterson. Ivy Watson. We have Jeffrey Smith. We have Alexis Page. And then we have Lainey Motley. Ms. Paulson, will you tell us what these fine students have done?
So every year, on the even years, we do PACER scores in PE. And they do it at the beginning of the year and they do it at the end of the year. And the coaches wanted to recognize these folks because they excelled in their PACER scores this year. And PACER scores, you start, and it's running. They run laps, but they run them progressively faster. So it's more about endurance than anything. So these are people who endure. Not only do they show up for class, probably all of their classes they do well in, but they also show up for PE and run. And run and run. They endure. As a matter of fact, we were just talking about the scores, and there's a gentleman from Martin who had 131 laps, and he was the overall district. His name is Trishan Frutel, and he overall was 131 laps, which is remarkable. Remarkable. All of these folks did a great job, and we were very proud of them for excelling in PE.
Congratulations, everyone. From from what I understand, that PACER test it's tough. That's what my grandkids tell me. I'm not going to try it. We'll let everybody get out of here that's wanting to. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the donor appreciation, and I'll give that to Dr. Maxwell.
So in your packets, you will find donor lists or partnerships from all of the schools. They sent in a list to recognize those who have contributed to the school in one way or another. So you'll see that in your agenda.
Ms. Diane, can I get a packet and agenda? Thank you.
Okay, next item is is roll call. So, Mr. Safety, he is not here. I believe he's still out west somewhere. Ms. Paris? Ms. Hale?
Here.
Mr. Brock? Here. Mr. King?
Here.
Ms. Hamby?
Sorry.
I started to say, I thought I saw you.
I'm here.
And Ms. Boston?
Here.
Ms. Cargy?
Here.
And Chairman's here. Okay. Next item is the declaration of conflict. Mr. Patton.
Board members, Tennessee Code annotated Title 49, Chapter 2, Section 202 defines relative as a spouse, parent, parent-in-law, child, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, grandparent, grandchild, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, nephew, niece, or any person that resides in the same house as you. Each of you that have such a relative, please raise your right hand. Let the record reflect Mr. Inman, Mr. Brock, and Ms. Boston. Each of you certify that the votes that you make tonight will be in the best interest of the Cumberland County school system, regardless of the effect that your vote may have upon the employment of your relatives.
I do.
Let the record reflect all of them.
Okay, next item is approval of the minutes.
Move to approval.
Second.
Got a motion from Ms. Cargy and a second from Mr. King. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next is the approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, got a motion by Ms. Cargy and a second by Mr. Brock. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is acknowledgment of elected officials. Have we got any elected officials? I didn't see
I see
any.
Ms. Stout, though. She'll be the incoming District 9 BOE.
Okay, Ms. Stout? Oh, yeah, well, thank you for being here.
And Miss Stahl's here also. and so
Stahl?
Miss Sherry.
Oh, okay, all right, good, thank you. Thank you for being here.
One more?
And did I miss one?
Sherry Nichols.
Okay, and
District 3.
District 3, okay. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. All right, next item is community comments. And we have 3 people that have signed up. And the first is Chris Bonine, I'm sorry. I didn't.
You need me up?
Yes, please. And before you get started,
Yes, sir.
go ahead up to the podium, and let me remind everybody that please keep your remarks to business, as you know, in the Cumberland County school system. Do not, we can't talk about personnel issues because this board has no say-so with personnel issues. So just remember that, please. And you'll have 3 minutes, and it'll start after you tell us your name and your address, and then you can get started.
You got it. Chris Bonine, 267 West End Road, Rockwood, or Westall. So if I speak out of turn, it's not doing so intentionally. This is my first time speaking at this. So essentially some of the concerns we have regarding Pineview Elementary pertain to really the communication before a lot of the different events that we have had lately. We had a spring sing that we had maybe just a few days' notice held at 2 p.m, as well as reward ceremony for honor roll students. Once again, short time notice right at 9 a.m. Time is irrelevant. Notification is more important for us parents so we can be there. I think a lot of the folks in the community there, look at Pineview as a really community center for all of us folks that live out there. The environment when we first moved here, particularly in that school, was phenomenal. I don't know too many elementary schools will have a disco ball on someone's birthday. And I was really, really impressed with the communication then. And I will say, at the beginning of the school, anytime you do have management change, or perhaps leadership, there's always going to be some change and some adjustment to that. But overall, I do feel, and it's tough from our perspective because we have to filter from our students what's relevant, what's not, right? No one wants to do homework, but other things should be taken seriously. Couple things with the environment, which I'll say from my perspective, it's not really a culture or fostering a positive environment for the students. Myself, other parents have seen a shift in attitude with our kids regarding going to school, where it used to be one of excitement, now it's one of dread. This year was met with a lot of complaints and lack of enthusiasm. A couple notes from my son who goes there. Simple things such as tickets and currency rewards for good behavior were abolished right off the bat. The disco ball came down, but essentially disciplinary action seemed super excessive for perhaps the action that was done. The CTE classes, I know that there's a discussion about some of those being canceled, namely Ag and Teen Living, which my son actually spoke very highly of at Pineview. Some other events before Beta Club, there was kids there to volunteer for Beta hours, met with locked doors. So it's hard to. I'm not saying that any of these are necessarily intentional, right? But it should be brought up to y'all and kind of out there. This is how it's being perceived. It's very cold. Am I done? Or are you just giving me double high
10
five?
seconds.
So ultimately, we really want to see that environment change and to welcome us parents back into Pineview.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Amber Cook. Now, and once again, please confine your remarks to anything but personnel.
Gotcha.
And I think you've done this before.
I have.
Yeah.
Hey, good to see y'all again. And thank you guys. You guys were awesome last time. Thanks for caring. Thanks for talking to me. I appreciate that. Thanks for talking to me about what's going on with our school. I need to say my name, right?
Yes, please. Your
Okay.
name and your address, and
Okay.
then she'll start the 3 minutes.
Okay, Amber Cook, 142 Days Road. Okay, we good? Okay.
You're good, anytime.
So, okay, I want to thank you guys for having me again. I know you guys hear sometimes about parents getting up here and talking about the rotation of principals in our school. And I'm not sure if you guys realize how often we have changed. Right now, we're begging for that to change. The leadership, we need that to change drastically. Okay, sorry. The roles need to be changed. I don't know what else how to word it.
Culture, maybe?
Culture. Yes, the culture needs to be changed. But I did make some copies so you guys could kind of get an idea if you want to pass around and take out a copy of that. Like you said, last year was amazing. We have had Pineview finally, for the past couple of years, had excelled. I mean, our kids were excited to be there. It was easy to get them up. They were pumped. This year, our kids have been, I feel like our school's at rock bottom, honestly, if I'm being true. Like, our kids are at the bottom. They have no motivation. They're sad. They don't want to go to school. That's the truth. I dare you go to our school and ask the kids what's going on at your school. I dare you. Because your mouths will drop open. Ask them. I also want to, it's just a sinking ship. Our school is a sinking ship that needs help. That's why I'm here again. And like I said, I will continue to be here until something is addressed, because our kids matter. Our teachers matter. Whether it's anonymous or not, voices should be heard. So, I don't understand why teachers' voices are not allowed to be heard in this county. They are so important. Our teachers are amazing. We are very fortunate to have them. And even though their names can't be signed, I will sign my name 1,000 times for those people, because we have amazing ones. And to lose any of them for the situations that are at hand is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's just a low blow for our school. It's heartbreaking to watch, truly. And I wish that other people would sense how heartbreaking it is to see that. Because we aren't standing here because we want to. I mean, we love y'all. Y'all are good-looking people. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love your smiles. I love your personalities. But we need that. We need that help from every single one of y'all. We need your help. We're begging. Our community has been shut out of our school. That's just it. Everything looks pretty when you show up. But when you don't show up, and it's just us, it's a whole lot different. Everything's a pretty picture. But I really want you guys to hear it. We need your help. Our students need your help. I've had kids literally message me since the last one and thank me for helping. I can tell, if I told you how many, it would be ridiculous. The kids want your help.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next is Brandy Carter. And once again, please keep your remarks to anything but personnel, okay? And if you'll tell us your name and your address, and then your 3 minutes will start.
I too have never done this before, so if I mess up, I apologize. I'm Brandy Carter.
For me?
Don't know how to use the microphone.
Take a
either.
step forward.
Okay, is that better?
There you go.
Yeah, never done this before, so.
That's fine. You just take your time and just relax.
Brandy Carter, 2090 Dogwood Road, Rockwood. We have 4 girls that have attended Pineview. Then last year was phenomenal, but it was really the first full year they'd gone, so we hadn't known anything differently. So our girls were new students, so this year, completely, totally different. I'll go from the least to the greatest concern. So drop off, we let them ride the bus now. Drop off is a very cold drop off. They dread going. Last year, they beaming out of the car, hugging everybody, smiling going in, and now it's more of a cold, head hung, walk in the door. The greatest concern we have is one of our older daughters, sweetest kid you'll ever know. Even had some staff telling me personally, she's the sweetest student we've ever had, and we've known a lot of students. So she's in the beta club, straight A's. So sweet. Doesn't want to make anyone mad. Well, and I knew she was struggling a little bit with her peers until another parent confronted me because they were tired of her being bullied. And then it came down to, well, what's going on? She had actually had deodorant smeared across her face on the bus, and kids laughing at her. I did go to the principal. I don't know what to say. But I did address my concerns. They knew nothing of it. And then later I heard that the teachers that knew about it were not allowed to go to them and tell them. The student had to. Well, Sophie's not, or our daughter's not going to do that. So anybody be mad at her. There was also screaming in her ears in the school hallways, kicking her. There's no way she would say anything. But anyways, she's a good girl. It's just the fact that I didn't know anything about it because no one told me, you know. And she wasn't allowed to express herself. So that's a lot of it. And then I agree with the things that Amber and Chris said as well, as far as lack of communication, not knowing, not being able to be involved. I've never not gone to anything for the whole year for any of my girls. And I probably this year have gone to 2 different things. So that's a hurt too. I mean, that breaks your heart when you can't be involved in your child's education and know what they're doing during the year and what's going on. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Carter. If you would, before you leave, would you talk to Mr. Bo Magnuson down there about the bullying issue, and maybe he can help. Okay, but thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is the school board reports. Normally, Mr. Safety would be here to give that report, and since he's not here, unless he has talked to anybody about, okay, he's not mentioned anything to me about it. Okay, so we'll move on. Next item is board members' report from training. Has anybody had any training they want to talk about?
We went to Nashville for the board role in finance, but know what it's called. It was a lot of great information. It was it was a lot to take in, but it was very informative. So, I mean, I'm glad we went.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
I do the legal lunch webinars.
Yes.
They're very good.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, we'll move on. Next item is the legal report. Mr. Patton.
The board has some active litigation, as you know. There are not really any updates. There's still a motion to dismiss set in the Hester case for June the 9th, and again, that is in Putnam County. If anybody has any questions about that, feel free to call me in my office.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Patton. The next item is the discussion of the attorney contract. Now, I had this put on the agenda for us to look at. The contract doesn't run out until June 30th, so we could actually vote on this at the June meeting if you want to, or we can vote on it tonight. It's up to this board what y'all want to do.
That contract should go before the contract committee before it comes to the full board, right?
That's fine. Well, like I said, I just put it on here basically for information. I wanted everybody to see it, and so we don't have to vote on it or anything tonight. Ms. Boston, we'll just send that to the contract committee and let y'all bring it to us in the June meeting. How's that? Okay, thank you. That sound all right to you, Mr. Patton?
That's fine.
Okay. Well, like I said, I just wanted to get it out in front of everybody, before we waited too late and not have the contract.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Next item is the director's report. I'll turn it over to Dr. Maxwell.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Emmon. The first item, which will require a board vote, is the Literacy Teacher Training Stipend Grant. This is the second year that we have received this money from the state to provide a stipend to our teachers in the summertime for taking the training that the state has adopted. And Ms. Barnes is here to answer any questions that you might have.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, got a motion from Ms. Carty and a second from Mr. King. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
The next item will require board approval. This is the Strategic Compensation and Differentiated Pay Plan. Ms. Bray has met with a committee of members from all of the schools, and this is what they are proposing, and Ms. Bray is here to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Okay, got a motion from Mr. King.
Second.
Second from Mr. Brock. Any discussion? Any questions?
I have one.
Yes.
Is this the, what we did last year, the same amount? I thought it looked familiar. So this is basically just redoing what we had done last year.
That is correct. It's been pretty much very similar for me.
All right, any further discussion? All right, All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
The next item, which for years we have brought requiring a board vote, it is just notification of the personnel recommendations for 2022-2023 school year.
Okay, do I hear any motions?
Motion to approve.
Okay, Ms. Boston with a motion,
Second.
Mr. King with the second. He beat you by just a second. Is there any discussion? Ms. Boston, you look like you had some discussion.
No,
No?
absolutely none.
Okay. All right, then. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The next item, which will also require board approval, this is a transportation job description. This is not a new person position. Ms. Bray is here and Mr. Canancer is here to answer any questions that you might have.
Move to approve.
Okay, got a motion, Ms. Cargy,
Second.
Mr. King with the second. All right, is there any discussion, any questions? Ms.
Of course.
Okay, Ms. Boston.
And I don't know which one I asked. This is not a new position?
No. We had two part-time people doing safety, but basically we're gonna have, half of it will be safety, half of it's gonna be working with our new routing software, which the two are gonna be kind of intricate together because we're gonna be doing a lot as far as driver qualifications. The software will keep up with that as well as routing for the software. So basically we had two people that kind of did the training part-time and now we're just gonna make it combined into one.
What schedule will they be on? And I'm assuming it's a non-certified position.
Correct. Level 5.
So we've got two half-time positions, combining it to one. What happens to the two people that are doing it now?
Well, they won't be doing that unless they decide to apply for this job. But they also drive. This was something.
Okay, so they're drivers, so no one's going to be,
No.
okay,
No, no, no,
that's
no,
what I
no.
needed to know.
No, no, no,
I'm good.
That was my question. Thank you for asking.
no. They are both perfectly able to, if they want to apply for
To
it.
apply for the job. Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
The next item is the annual planning calendar. This is just an FYI. I've said this many times, time flies when you're having fun. We have 1 month left and before the new fiscal year begins. So you can see that we are ticking things off the list. The other information in my report is for your information. And that is all that I have, Mr. Inman.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on any of the reports? All right, hearing none, we'll move on. Okay. Let's see, we're down to 17, school board committees. We'll begin with Mr. Brock with the policy committee.
It may be the end of the school year, but it is the time for policies. For your first reading consideration, folks, we've got policy 2.702 about inventories, policy 3.206, community use of school facilities, policy 5.204, retirement incentive, and policy 6.4031, head lice. Sorry. Honestly, what we're doing on most of these folks is just updating and some changes due to changes in state law like we normally have. I would like to point out one thing. There is a retirement incentive, and I would like to thank everybody who worked on coming up with that, along the committee members and staff and other people. I think we've really come up with a very nice benefit for both our certified and non-certified people. And I encourage you to look at that, and the committee encourages you to give your approval to it.
Okay, this came out of committee, so it doesn't need a second. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Next, for second reading, I'm sure you're familiar with these from the previous month. Attached to that are just a couple of annual review policies. Those do not require anything but the board to recertify that you're aware of them and what they are. So these continue to have our support.
Okay. Once again, coming out of committee does not need a second. Is there any discussion on any of them? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We've got all the policy. Now, Mr. Brock, Athletic Committee.
Nothing to report at this time.
Okay. Mr. King, Budget Committee.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. It's Budget Committee meetings. We've had many, and we're about 2/3 of the way through getting to a recommendation. So we'll be meeting to finish up soon. We'll have something after that,
Okay.
Do I understand that we have a meeting on Tuesday?
31st.
Okay, so the Budget Committee will meet on next Tuesday at 4:35 and to try to finish up the budget. And if they get finished, then we will try to have a special called meeting on Thursday. That's June the 2nd, correct? Mm-hmm. But in order to pass the budget, in order to get it ready for the County Commission on June the 7th, is that correct, Ms. Harris? And so we're kind of in a time crunch, but we do not want to rush this. So if there's still questions, then we'll deal with it. Okay. But anyway, that's kind of the plan right now, and it's subject to change. Okay. Thank you, Mr. King. Mr. Safety's not here, and Ms. Hamby, the Safety Committee.
I don't have anything to report at this time.
Okay, thank you. And Contract Committee, Ms. Boston.
We have not had a meeting, but apparently we're going to.
Thank you. All right, next is Chief Financial Officer's report. I'll turn it over to Ms. Harris.
Thank you. So we have the April financial statement for you. With revenues, you can see in April, we recognized a little over $5 million for a year-to-date total of just over $50 million against our budget of $57.7. So we're about 87% there, which is a good place to be this time of year. Any questions? Okay. Moving on to the revenues, the expenditures, excuse me. In April, we expended about $4.4 million against a year-to-date total of $42.2 million, and then our budget is $61.1. So we're about 69% expended there, and be happy to answer any questions about expenditures.
Ms. Boston.
Do you expect a large jump for expenditures in June?
The biggest thing that we have coming due in June, some of our larger maintenance projects will be done once the schools are more empty. So we have some big paving project. We've got the North Electric project. Hopefully they're going to be able to get a little bit further along with that. So I would expect to see some progress, and then I'll remind you of the process when we close out the year. Those projects that were started this year
will roll over.
They will maintain the money from this year. So we'll have to set those up with some procedures, but they'll still hit this year's expenditures.
Perfect. Thank you.
Ms. Boston, were you talking about the maintenance of the plant with 23%? That's the one I was looking at.
That's the one I was concerned about.
Yeah, so.
Because that's, I mean, you're looking at 19 million budgeted and spent difference. That's a pretty big jump. But if we've got some big projects, which I anticipated that we did, that will come. But they'll be done in June. We'll pay for them after we close out.
Right. They will be more, hopefully some will be done in June, and the others will be further along in June. Definitely the supply chain issues that's affecting everybody.
It is.
Is affecting us. But yes, they should all be well in motion.
Okay.
And hopefully, but we like when we can get them all done and paid for in June because it's an accounting process
Well,
to hit it back this year. But we'll do it.
next month, you can give us kind of a rundown
Sure.
of what, okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. All right, the next items, there are 2 general purpose school fund amendments. I'd be happy to answer questions or go over them individually.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion by Ms. Cargy and a second from Mr. King. Now, this is for, in code speak, 141 budget amendments. Okay, is there any discussion? All right, hearing none. Since this is dealing with money, we'll do a roll call. Ms. Paris? Did she say pass?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, thank you. Ms. Hale?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Hamby?
Yes.
Ms. Boston?
Yes,
Ms. Cargy?
Yeah.
Chair votes yes, so motion passes. Okay,
Thank you. The next are our 142 federal budget amendments. The descriptions are there, and we also have our federal program staff present if there's any questions.
Move to approve all 4.
Ms. Cargy with the motion,
Second.
second with Mr. King. All right, is there any discussion? Anybody got any questions on any of these 4 142 budget amendments? All right, hearing none, we'll do a roll call again. Ms. Cargy?
Yes.
Ms. Boston?
yes,
Ms. Hamby?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Ms. Hale?
Yes.
Ms. Paris? Okay. And Mr. Sathy's not here. Okay. Okay,
Right.
motion carries.
Thank you. The next item are 143, which is our school nutrition fund. There are 2 amendments there, and Ms. Hamby is here as well if you have questions.
Move to approve both.
Ms. Cargy with the motion, Mr. King with the second. So, there any discussion? Anybody got any questions? Okay, hearing none. Once again, this is a budget, so we'll do roll call. Ms. Paris?
No, I'm on pass.
Okay. Ms. Hale?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Hamby?
Yes.
Ms. Boston?
yes.
Ms. Cargy?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, so motion carries.
Thank you.
Goodness. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Ms. Cargy and second by Mr. King. Is there any discussion? Anybody have any questions about the consent agenda? All right, hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, now, I gotta get caught up here. Okay. All right, that takes us through number 19. Now, we're to old business. Anybody have any old business they want to bring up? What?
No.
No. Hearing none, we'll move on. Questions from the media? Do you have any questions? No? Okay, thank you.
Move to adjourn.
We've got a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I got a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Once again, thank you, everybody, for being here.